Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlotte if you are new here, and if you are new, welcome. Of course, if you are returning, welcome back. It's good to see you again. But let's just jump straight into this thing. So today we are going to be doing a bookshelf tour, which is a video that I've never done on YouTube. I've done a few on TikTok, but I've never taken it to YouTube, so I thought we would give it a go today, make it nice and cozy, and just share some of the books I have with you, talk about some of the books that are on my TBR, some of the books that are my favourite books, and just chat away. So I have my bookshelves split around my room. So I have two bookshelves on that side, I have a little bit of a TBR here, and then I have my fantasy shelf behind me. So we're very split up at the moment, which is kind of why I feel like the tour is needed, because with my new filming, like, this isn't where I just film videos now, so it's like, oh, like you don't really know how many books I have or what books I have. So if you're new, you wouldn't have seen the old setup. But yeah, maybe let's just dive straight into things. Okay, the lighting is not the best in this area of my room because it's very dark. It's also quite a dark day today, like it's pretty rainy, but this will do. We're still in the premise. So I thought we would start things off with my fantasy shelf. So because this is like the bit where I leave my room as well, my door is here, I also have like my perfumes and stuff on the top. So I very much like the top of my bookshelves to be more decorative. Like, I don't really use the top for like book space, if at all. It is more decorative. As I said, all of this shelf is fantasy. And on the top shelf I have a lot of my YA. So starting with this end, I have this is like a first edition copy, which is why it has the decoration of A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber, which is the third and final book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I just have it on the end because it kind of just fit the best there, so it's not in order, but I think it's just like a nice display. So when these came out, you didn't know what design was going to be your main design. So I have the paw print, but you could get like all of these different designs. You get like the fox, the wolf, the apple, the dagger, or the paw print. So it's kind of nice being able to display that, because it is obviously, it's not super rare, but like if you were to go into Waterstones now, like you wouldn't be able to get this. And then I do also have the dust jacket just next to it, just because I like to keep my dust jackets when I am taking them off, just in case like I need to free up space and stop displaying it like that, which I think is going to happen soon. But then moving on, we have obviously the rest of my Stephanie Garber collection. So because Caraval is kind of the first series in this interconnected, because they are interconnected but they are separate, like I haven't finished Caraval yet. Anyway, I have that first, and then I go into Once Upon a Broken Heart with I did buy the paperback version of A Curse for True Love as well, just so that they are all nice and together. Although one thing that I really don't like is that these two are pretty much the same shade of pink, and then the Ballad of Never After is so much darker. But yeah, then I also have obviously Caraval Legendary Finale first, into A Curse for True Love, and then we have the Red Queen box set by Victoria Avard. So I did just buy all of those with I think this is a novella, like a book of novellas, book of short stories type thing. I think it's meant like the same idea of like the Assassin's Blade, where you've just got all of the novellas in one. We have that there, and then next to it I do have Powerless, with Powerless, Powerful and Reckless. I am thinking about getting the hardback editions of Powerless and Reckless, but I'm not too sure. I'm kind of undecided because they are really pretty and I probably would have them displayed like this. But then I'm also like, I could spend that money on books that I already have, just so that when the hardback comes out it matches. Or I can basically do what I've done with A Curse for True Love and have it displayed differently, and then get the paperback when the paperback comes out, and buy new books with the money that I would spend on the hardback. So undecided right now. And then we go into Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare, and then Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. These are, I just kind of like how they look together. I think like it's quite aesthetically pleasing. Like we have the silvers going into the golds, going into the foiled gold. I don't know. I don't like colour coordination with my shelves. Like I do like to organise kind of by genre and subgenre, but I don't organise by colour. I'm not a rainbow bookshelf girly ever, but I do like some kind of colour coordination. Like I like my books, I like to organise my books in a way where I think they look nice together, if that makes sense. So moving on to the next shelf, which I will lower you for. Okay, so coming into this shelf, starting on this side, we have my Belladonna series. So I do just have the paperback of Belladonna. I have been thinking about getting the Hodder Escapes hardback, but again, I'm like, do I want to spend money on a hardback of books that I have and have read when I could spend that money on a book that I haven't read? It's always something I find quite difficult, especially when I own the book already. And then of course we have the hardbacks of Foxglove and Wisteria. Honestly, Foxglove is my absolute favourite cover in the series, so that's kind of why I have it displayed at the moment. I don't love the cover of Wisteria as much, and Foxglove was actually my favourite book in the series anyway, so I think it fits quite nicely. And then obviously I said I didn't really organise by colour, but we kind of do on this shelf. So we have the lighters with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and then I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Map of the Otherlands. So this shelf, I have, obviously these are gothic fantasies, and when I get One Dark Window and 2 Twisted Crowns, the physical books, they'll go on the shelf as well. But otherwise it is kind of like dark academia and light academia mixed with fantasies all on this shelf. So that is kind of the theme. I kind of just like to keep my shelves organized by theme. Like, I find it a lot easier, especially with making content. Like, I know if I want to recommend some YA fantasies to people, I know to look at this shelf. If I know that someone's like saying they want something a bit more dark academia with some fantasy, I know that this is probably a good shelf to look at. So we have our light academia with Emily Wilde's, and then we have Babel by Ara Huang, one of my favorite books, and genuinely I think my most tabbed book ever. Like, it is actually a little bit next level how much of this book is tabbed. I think like pretty much every page has a tab on it, so yeah, definitely one that I loved. We have The Night Circus, which was a DNF for me, but I've kept it because I feel like maybe I will read it another time. Ninth House by Lee Bardugo, so I do have them separated just because whilst it's the same author, they're very different books, I think, with a very different vibe, so it just makes a bit more sense in my brain to keep them separated like that. Then we have If We Were Villains, which obviously isn't a fantasy, but I just don't really have enough like, it's the only pure dark academia book I have, so to me it just makes a little bit more sense to keep it by itself. And then we have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake, and then we go into my Atlas 6 series, so I have the hardback for all of these. I was so desperate for the hardbacks, I literally tracked them down on Vinted of the Alice 6 and the Alice Paradox, because the Alice Complex was like just coming out when I read the series, so I was like, I need to have all of them in hardback. Okay, and then we have my bottom shelf. Okay, so you might not be able to see me for a lot of this portion, but down here we have the A Day of Fallen Night and the Priory of the Orange Tree. So these are kind of more of my like adult fantasies that have some like mythical things. I guess Emily Wilde could be down here then, but for now she's up there and these are down here. So on this side we have Dragons with A Day of Fallen Night and Priory of the Orange Tree, and then Fourth Wing and Iron Flame as well. And then we go into ACOTAR. When I've been saying this for so long, I am going to get Throne of Glass. When I get that, I will keep Throne of Glass with ACOTAR. I just do not know where she's going to live. Like, it's going to be a mystery. We're going to have to do some rearranging, I think. But yeah, so we have ACOTAR here, and then Five Broken Blades, A Crown of Ivy and Glass, The Witches at the End of the World, and then I recently got Lightlark, and I have just been keeping Lightlark here. I don't know if that's going to be its permanent home, because obviously it is a YA fantasy, but then I won't have enough room for the full series on that shelf, so I'm not too sure where it's going to go. But that is my current fantasy collection. A little bit of some different lighting now, because we have left the natural lighting I was using, but this is basically my romance TBR. So something I found is I know all of the books that are on my fantasy TBR and my kind of general fiction TBR, but I always really struggled with remembering what I had on my romance TBR, so I did decide to just keep it separate. So this is what I currently have. We have All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, Rootbound by Tara Jewett, Honey and Spice by Bolio Babalola, Love in Colour by Bolio Babalola, A Lady's Guide to Scandal by Sophie Irwin, A Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, The Boardwalk Bookshop by Susan Mallory, Collide by Bao Cabrera, The Man I Never Met by Elle Cook, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, and then Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. So we're getting through the romance TBR. It's quite rare that I pick a book from my TBR for romance, which is really bad, and it's also why it's kept separate to try and make me read more of these. But yeah, not too much to say about over here. Okay, so now we come to where most of my books, I'd say, are kept. We have my romance shelf and then my fiction shelf, so we will go through my romance shelf first. It's so hard to film here because my bed is quite literally like lit right here, like in line with the camera, so it's not the comfiest. But the top shelf, I have my sports romance and then my cowboy romance. So we have the Maple Hill series, which sits in here, and then I go into Done and Dusted. So at the moment I have these displayed because I don't have enough books to kind of fill this shelf, and I do think Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled are just absolutely gorgeous covers. We then have the, I can't remember what the name of this series is, the Gold Rush Ranch. So I only have the first book right now. I haven't been able to find the other ones. I think only one colourway is, like, only one colourway. I think only the second book is out, but I haven't been able to find it in like an Astor or the works. And because they're on Kindle Unlimited, they're not books that I want to pay like kind of the full price for. I would much rather just get them at a discounted price, because like chances are I'm going to read them on my Kindle anyway, because I pay for that extra. It's the one thing with books that I would say I'm pretty cheap about. And then I have the Chestnut Spring series. I don't know why I can't remember the name of these. They're also in the wrong order. I don't know why I really like how these look displayed this way around. I don't like how they look upright. I think I've just seen too many people with them displayed this way. I'm like, no, like that's how they have to be now. And then we also then have the Rose Hill series. So we've got Wild Love and Wild Eyes, and obviously we'll just keep expanding as both this series and this series, the books release, and I can get a hold of them. So coming into the next shelf, okay, so down here we have Magnolia Park series. So I have these shoe covers still for book 1 and 2. I do really want to get the like original style covers for those, but I just haven't prioritized it. Again, I've prioritized getting books that I haven't read, which I want to focus on my collection, but it's so hard to do. And then I have my copy of Into the Dark with the original style cover, and I just like to have that displayed because I think these are absolutely beautiful, and I do think when I get all of them, I'm going to keep them elsewhere. I think I'm going to find a different spot for them, potentially put like a shelf up or something and have them displayed, because I just think they're too beautiful not to. I then have my TBR jar. So these are all of my TBR prompts that I made for doing my TBR videos. And then these are some new additions, and I'm not sure if these are going to stay here because I don't know if I like how they look where they are there. But we have Dead Romantics and the 7 Year Slip, and they are currently just living next to the Boys of Tommen series. So Dead Romantics and Keeping 13 are both on my TBR, but I am just keeping them on this bookshelf because I like them being with their fellow book. I don't know if that's a good justification, but yeah, they're both, like, I know that they're on my TBR. I remember that they're on my TBR. Well, Dead Romantics has literally just been added to my TBR, but Keeping 13, like, I know it's on my TBR. I'm just waiting for like the right time to read it. I said in my picking my October TBR video, it's not a book that I want to like have on TBRs or anything. It's a book that I want to pick up when I'm feeling emotionally ready for it, because it's heavy, like it's a very heavy series, so that's why she lives there. And then coming into the bottom shelf, yeah, I don't think you can see me at all, so hopefully you can see the books at least. So we have my Emily Henry collection here. Again, currently just have Happy Place and Funny Story out on display. I do only have like the UK covers of all of these. I would love to get some of the US covers, but I didn't want to try and bring them back when I was in America because I was like, this is going to make my suitcase weigh so much. So just those for now. And then I do also have the Waterstones special edition of Funny Story, which did get a little bit damaged. I did take this to America with me because I was reading it when I went, and yeah, it did just get a little bit damaged in my hand luggage. A rookie error on my part. And then down here in this corner I have all of my kind of just standalone romances. But yeah, that is the romance shelf done. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to see, because I had to put the camera in such an awkward place that it's against my bed. But this shelf is kind of my just general fiction. So to begin with, at the top I have my classics. So I have Little Women, Northanger Abbey, and then The Catcher in the Rye for the classics that I can. I am collecting them in the, I think it's called the Penguin English Library format. These I just think are absolutely stunning. I just really like these style covers, and they're also so floppy, and I am a floppy book lover. If you're not, sorry not sorry. But yeah, just have my classics there. Separated them with a plant. I have some Victoria Hislop books. I really enjoyed The Island by Victoria Hislop, so I got some more, and these are definitely still on my TBR. I find it really hard to find the right time to read a book like that. I think because I've not been on like a hot holiday where I'm like reading, and I feel like these are these are definitely books for like you are going on holidays and reading. So I've not had that, and I wasn't reading some for a lot of summer. So hopefully next year we'll finally get to these two, because they do sound really good. Those Who Are Loved I might read like more towards going into summer, because I think it's like more of a historical romance as well. So I think that kind of fits that time of year maybe. Anyway, we then have my Taylor Jenkins Reid collection. So I just saw this, I think I have it in publication order. It might be slightly out of publication order, but we have the kind of ones with covers like these. They're just set in like modern times. They're just like romancy, fiction-y pieces. And then we have Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and we have like the Hollywood series, which I love. These are definitely some of my all-time favourite books. I love how they're written. I think it's so cool. I think it's such a cool like genre, sub-genre. I love like hearing about celebrity in books. I think it is one of the most interesting topics. I love it. I think I've spoken about it in so many videos, but yeah, it is one of my favorite things to read about. So absolutely adore these for that reason. And then we come down onto the next shelf, which is more of a lit fic shelf. Okay, so down here we start with the Sally Rooney's that I have. I do not yet have Intermezzo. I do want to get Intermezzo, but I do not currently have her, so she's not there. We have Conversations with Friends, Normal People, and Beautiful World. Where Are You? So again, I just keep these ones in publication order. I think that's pretty much what I do for all of my, yeah. Emily Henry's also in publication order. When I have books from multiple authors, but they're not like a series, I do just keep them in publication order. I think for me, it's like the easiest way. I don't really know. And then, although Dolly Alderton, we do not have her in order, because I did kind of do like a bit of a colour situation here. I know, I said I don't do colour, but I do for certain books. Anyway, we then go into Dolly Alderton, so we've got good material. I've got this displayed because I honestly think it is such a stunning cover. Like, it's so different. Absolutely love it. We then have Ghosts, one of my favourite books. I would definitely really recommend it. It's so beautifully written. The parallels between kind of being physically ghosted on like a dating app or by like a romantic partner, and then a parent like becoming a ghost because of Alzheimer's is chef's kiss, amazing. We then have Days at the Murasaki Bookshop, which is on my TBR for this month. I need to make sure that I read this because I'm really intrigued by it, but it's just one of those where I've never really been in the mood for something like that. I've not been like since I got it. So we then have Yellowface. Absolutely adored this book. It is incredible. If you haven't read it, definitely do read it. And then we have My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which I was so intrigued by this because I think the cover is just absolutely stunning, which is such a theme with like my lit fics. But yeah, it was a DNF. It wasn't for me, but I am keeping it in case maybe I give it another go. And also I just loved the cover. And then we have The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which is actually my mum's book, and I have pinched it from her. So yeah, this will be my first Donna Tartt. My plan is to read this, see how I get on with it because I already have it, and then if I do like it, then I will give The Secret History a go, which I do think I will like The Secret History given how much I liked If We Were Villains. So, and then we have one of my newest editions, which is Sugar Baby by Celine Sinclair, because honestly another one that I got because of the cover. Like, tell me this is not the most beautiful cover of a book you've ever seen. So I do have this one slightly on display. With my paperbacks, when I display them, I try and like fan them out now, so I have some of the spine as well on display because I just find it works a little bit better. And then we just have a little pumpkin candle, which is just like a pumpkin decoration now because the actual candle is completely burnt out, so, but she's too cute to get rid of. Okay, and then we have the bottom shelf, which is our final shelf. Okay, so the bottom shelf is pretty full. We'll start in this direction again. So I have 2 books from Greta Sittenfeld. I love her writing so much. She writes such interesting topics, I think. So we have American Wife, which is about the wife of a president, and it runs through her whole life. This would actually be a really good book to read, I think, in the run-up to this election, because a lot of this book focuses on women's rights and abortion especially. So 10 out of 10 would recommend for current reading. And then we have a romantic comedy, which is about a writer on a show like SNL, which I think is so cool. And I literally cannot watch, obviously we don't have SNL in the UK, but I get a lot of clips of it on TikTok, especially when like celebrities I like are on it. And ever since then, I cannot watch those clips without thinking of romantic comedy. I think it's so clever. We then have The List by Yomi Adejoke. I think that's how you say her name. I'm really, really sorry if I am butchering it. And then we have a proof copy of Small Hours by Bobby Palmer. And honestly, I love the proof of this. I think it is so cool, so unique. And obviously we love the paperbacks that are hardback size, my favourite. Then I have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, which is on my TBR. They Both Die at the End, again, a TBR book. Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Small, TBR. The View Was Exhausting, again, TBR. The Stationery Shop of Turan, which was really cutely gifted to me when I worked at Oxfam. One of the older ladies gifted this to me. She had brought it from the the bookshop, and read it the week before, and then she came in and she was like, Charlotte, I think you need to read this. And then I left like really shortly after, and I still haven't got around to reading it, so I definitely want to read that. I have a proof copy of How to Solve Your Own Murder. This is my all-time favorite thriller. If you want to read a thriller, if you're looking for a good thriller, 100% pick this up. I think it's more in the category of cozy crime, but I absolutely adored this. I've recommended it to all of my friends who are not readers, and they have all enjoyed it. Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. It's the only like crime book where I haven't guessed who did it, honestly. And then we come into my Holly Jackson book. So we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, 5 Survive, and then The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Out of all of these, I think The Reappearance of Rachel Price was my favourite. And then last but not least, I still have the sticker on this, I need to take it off. We have Let's Split Up by Bill Wood. I got the sprayed edges copy. I think these are so cool. But yeah, I haven't read this yet, and I have never read a horror before, so I am really excited to give that a go. I'm actually going to be reading it probably this week for a video that will come out in a few weeks. Okay, so that was a fairly whistle-stop tour of all of the books that I have and my bookshelf collection as general. Hopefully you enjoyed and you got to learn a little bit more about the books that I have. If there's any books that I mentioned that I haven't read and you would like to see me read, let me know down below, and we can definitely get to work on that, because we know that I need to be reading more of my TBR and not going on Kindle Unlimited every single month and picking out a new book. So yeah, please help a girl out with completing her physical TBR. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel, and then hopefully I will be able to catch you in the next one. Anyway, let's just say bye for now. Bye!